Jake Morrison walked through the long hallway of the council station. His black shoes made soft sounds on the metal floor. The walls were covered with strange symbols from different alien worlds. Blue lights flickered above his head as he moved toward the main chamber. He was tired. The meeting had been going on for 6 hours already. His dark suit felt heavy on his shoulders. Behind him, Kate Phillips carried a small device that recorded everything they said. She was young, maybe 25, with short brown hair and worried eyes. "Ambassador Morrison," she whispered, "the message from Earth just came in. Admiral Carter wants to speak with you." Jake nodded but did not stop walking. The big doors to the council chamber were just ahead. 2 robot guards stood next to them, their red eyes watching everything that moved. "Tell the Admiral we will talk after this meeting," Jake said quietly. "Right now, we need to focus on what these aliens want from us." The doors opened with a loud hiss. Inside, the chamber was huge. The ceiling was so high that Jake could barely see it. In the center, there was a circle of seats where the alien representatives sat. Each seat was different because each alien species had different bodies. Jake walked to the human section. It was smaller than the others, with just 2 chairs. Kate sat down next to him and turned on her recording device. The Council Prime, Zexthara, stood up. It was tall, maybe 10 feet high, and its body was made of what looked like blue crystal. When it spoke, its voice came from speakers around the room because humans could not hear its real voice. "The council meeting will now continue," Zexthara sighed. Its crystal body flashed with bright light. "We are here to discuss the human problem." Jake felt his stomach get tight. The human problem. That was what they called it. To his left sat the HFY representative. It looked like a giant insect with 6 arms and big black eyes. Its name was Clicks, and it spoke for millions of other HFY through some kind of mind connection. On the right side, a cloud of green gas floated in a special container. That was Moras speaking for the Nethrons. The gas moved and changed shape when it talked. Behind them all, the Sorok delegate sat in a chair made for its large reptile body. Veltane was old, with gray scales and yellow eyes that never blinked. It watched Jake like a snake watching a mouse. "The humans have been in our galaxy for 50 Earth years," Zexthara continued. "In that time, they have built colonies on 47 worlds. They have created a military force of over 2,000 ships. They refuse to follow our laws." Jake stood up. "Council Prime, humans have never attacked any council species. We have traded fairly with all of you. Our colonies are on empty worlds that no one else wanted." The insect Clicks made a sound like angry buzzing. "Your species grows too fast. You make too many children. You build too many ships. You ask too many questions. Questions are not crimes," Jake said. "They are when they challenge the natural order," the gas cloud Moras replied. Its voice sounded like wind through leaves. "Humans do not understand their place in the galaxy." Jake looked around the chamber. On the walls, he could see screens showing human colonies. Cities full of people working, children playing, families living normal lives. Soon all of that might be gone. "What exactly are you asking us to do?" Jake asked. Zexthara's crystal body flashed brighter. "Humanity will surrender all military ships to the Council. You will accept Council governors on all your worlds. You will limit your population growth to what we approve. You will stop exploring new star systems." Kate made a small sound next to Jake. He put his hand on her arm to keep her calm. "And if we refuse?" Jake asked. "Then the Council will use force," Veltane said. The old reptile's voice was like stones grinding together. "Your species will be removed from this galaxy." The chamber became very quiet. Jake could hear the air systems working and the soft hum of the translation machines. "How long do we have to decide?" Jake asked. 72 standard hours, Zexthara said. "That is 3 of your Earth days," Jake nodded slowly. "The human government will need time to discuss this offer." "It is not an offer," Clicks buzzed. "It is a command." "I understand," Jake said. But his voice was calm, not afraid. Kate was already sending messages back to Earth through her small device. Jake could see her fingers moving quickly over the buttons. "This meeting is finished," Zexthara announced. "The humans will give their answer in 72 hours. The aliens began to leave the chamber. The gas cloud flowed out through a special tube. The insect walked on its 6 legs, making clicking sounds. The reptile moved slowly, but its yellow eyes never left Jake. Only Zexthara remained. The crystal being came closer to Jake. "Ambassador Morrison," it said, "I hope your people will be wise. This galaxy has room for many species, but not for species that cannot learn their place." "Prime Zexthara," Jake replied. "Humans have learned many things in our short time here. We have learned that the universe is bigger than we thought. We have learned that we are not alone. But we have also learned that some things are worth fighting for." The crystal being's light flickered. "Fighting will only bring death to your species." "Maybe," Jake said, "but slavery brings death to the spirit. And without spirit, what is the point of living?" Zexthara stared at him for a long moment. Then it turned and walked away, its crystal feet making sharp sounds on the metal floor. When they were alone, Kate looked at Jake with wide eyes. "What are we going to do?" she asked. Jake smiled, but it was not a happy smile. "We are going to go back to our ship and call Admiral Carter. Then we are going to send a message to every human colony and every human ship in the galaxy." "What kind of message?" "The kind that starts with Protocol 7 is now active," Jake said. Kate had never heard of Protocol 7, but she could see something in Jake's eyes that made her feel both scared and hopeful at the same time. They walked back through the long hallway, past the strange symbols and the blue lights. The robot guards watched them go, but did not try to stop them. On their ship, Jake sat in his chair and turned on the communication system. Admiral Carter's face appeared on the screen. She was in her 50s, with gray hair and hard eyes. "Jake," she said, "we got Kate's message. How bad is it?" "As bad as we thought it would be," Jake replied. "They want everything, our ships, our freedom, our future." "And you told them what?" "I told them we would think about it." Admiral Carter smiled. It was the same kind of smile Jake had made in the council chamber. "Good, that gives us time to finish the preparations." "Lisa," Jake said, "are you sure about this? Once we start Protocol 7, there is no going back." "Jake, do you remember what you told me when we first met the council? You said that humans had 2 choices. We could bow down and live as slaves, or we could stand up and live as humans." "I remember. Well, I have never been good at bowing down." Jake laughed. For the first time in hours, he felt hope. "Neither have I," he said. The communication ended. Jake looked at Kate, who was still confused. "What happens now?" she asked. "Now we wait," Jake said. "And we see if the council really knows what they are dealing with." Outside their ship, the council station continued its slow spin around the local star. Inside the station, the alien representatives were already planning how to divide up human space after the humans surrendered, but they had made one mistake. They thought humans were like every other species they had conquered. They thought fear would make humans give up. They were about to learn that some species are different. Some species, when pushed to the edge, do not fall off. Some species jump. The council chamber was ready for the human answer. Zexthara stood in the center, its crystal body shining with confidence. Around the circle, the other alien representatives waited. They had already planned how to split up human space. The Vexi wanted the farm worlds. The Sorok wanted the mining planets. The Nethrons wanted the gas stations near the big planets. 72 hours had passed. Now it was time for the humans to surrender, but the human chairs were empty. Zexthara's crystal body flickered with confusion. "Where are the humans?" The chamber's computer spoke in its flat voice. "No human ships detected in council space. All human diplomatic offices have been closed. All human staff have left." Clicks, the insect representative made angry buzzing sounds. "They cannot just leave. The time limit has not ended yet." "Find them," Zexthara ordered. "Search all human worlds. Search their colonies. Search their ships." On the observation deck of the council station, Security Chief Veltane watched the screens with growing worry. His reptile eyes moved from one display to another. Each screen showed the same thing: empty human cities, empty human ships, empty human colonies. "This is not possible," he said to his assistant, a young Sorak named Cathar. 12 billion humans do not just disappear. "Maybe they ran away to another galaxy," Cathar suggested. "No," Veltane said slowly. "Their ships are still here. Their cities are still running. The lights are on. The machines are working. But there are no life signs anywhere?" He pulled up a screen showing New Dallas, one of the biggest human colonies. The city looked normal. Cars moved through the streets, but there were no drivers. Elevators went up and down, but there were no passengers. In the parks, the sprinklers turned on and off, but there were no people to water the grass for. "It is like they just stepped outside and forgot to come back," Cathar whispered. Veltane's yellow eyes grew narrow. He had lived for 300 years and had conquered 17 different species for the Council. He had seen fear make species run to the far edges of the galaxy. He had seen pride make species fight until they were all dead, but he had never seen anything like this. "Send a message to all Council ships," he ordered. "Full search of all human space. Find out what happened to them." In the Vexi command ship, HiveMind Clix was having the same problem. Its mind was connected to millions of other Vexi throughout the galaxy, but none of them could find a single human. The collective consciousness of the Vexi was like a giant brain made of billions of smaller brains. It could think about many things at the same time. It could solve problems that single minds could not understand. But now, for the first time in thousands of years, the hive mind was confused. "Report," Clix buzzed to its ship commanders. "Human Colony 77 Alpha," came the first report. "All buildings intact. All power systems running, no humans detected." "Human Mining Station Beta 4," came the second report. "All machines working, all or processing continuing. No humans detected." "Human Research Lab on Kepler 9, came the third report. "All experiments still running. All computers still active. No humans detected." The reports continued for hours. Every human place in the galaxy was the same. Everything was working, but the humans were gone. Clix tried to understand what had happened. Had the humans developed some kind of new technology? Had they found a way to hide from all Council sensors? Had they discovered how to become invisible? "Impossible," Clix buzzed. "Human technology is primitive. They barely understand quantum mechanics. They cannot hide from our sensors." But the facts were clear. The humans had vanished. On the Nethran ship, Cloud Singer Moros floated in its special chamber, thinking about the problem. The Nethrans were made of gas and energy, so they thought differently than solid beings. They could see things that others missed. "The humans have not moved to another galaxy," Moros said to its crew. "Their quantum signatures are still here, but they are not in normal space." "What do you mean?" asked its second-in-command, Winddancer Thren. "Think of it like this," Moros explained. "Imagine you are looking at a flat picture. You can see everything on the picture. But what if someone took a step to the side out of the picture? You would not see them anymore, but they would still be there, just not in the same flat space. You think the humans have moved to a different kind of space?" "It is possible. We know they were working on strange physics, dimensional research, things that even we do not fully understand." The Nethrans began to scan for signs of dimensional activity. Their gas-based bodies could sense energy patterns that solid beings could not detect. But even they found nothing. Days passed, then a week, then a month. The Council decided to claim human space. If the humans were gone, then their worlds and their resources belonged to the Council now. It was the law of the galaxy. When a species disappeared, others took their place. The Vexi moved into the human farm worlds. They tore down the human cities and built new hives. The Sorak took over the mining operations. They brought in their own workers and started digging deeper into the planets. The Nethrans absorbed the human gas refineries and began processing fuel in their own way. At first, everything seemed normal. The Council was getting richer. The alien species were expanding their territory. The galaxy was becoming more organized under council rule, but then strange things began to happen. On the former human world of New Texas, a HFY worker reported seeing a human walking through the fields. But when the security team arrived, there was no one there. The crops were undisturbed. The sensors showed nothing. On mining station Beta 4, a Orcs supervisor heard human voices in the deep tunnels. When he went to investigate, he found only empty passages. But the mining equipment had been moved. Someone had been working in the mines. On the gas refinery near Jupiter, Nethran workers reported strange energy readings. The patterns looked like human technology, but more advanced than anything humans had ever built. The reports came in from all over former human space. Mysterious sounds, unexplained equipment failures, sensors that detected something for just a moment before finding nothing. Security Chief Veltane studied all the reports. His old reptile brain was beginning to understand something that scared him. "They are still here," he said to his assistant. "What do you mean, Chief?" "The humans, they did not leave. They are still here, watching us, but our sensors show nothing. Our sensors are designed to detect things in normal space. What if the humans have found a way to exist somewhere else? Somewhere we cannot see?" Cathar looked confused. "That is impossible. No species has ever developed that kind of technology." "No species has ever been like humans," Veltane replied. He pulled up the old files on human history. He read about their wars, their explorations, their refusal to give up even when everything seemed hopeless. He read about how they had gone from living in caves to traveling between stars in just a few thousand years. "They are not like us," he said quietly. "When other species face a problem they cannot solve, they give up or they die. But humans ... humans find a third option." "What kind of third option? I do not know, but I think we are about to find out." That night, as Veltane slept in his quarters, he dreamed of human voices whispering in the darkness. When he woke up, he found a single human flower on his desk. It was a rose, red and perfect, as if it had just been picked from a garden. But there were no human gardens left in the galaxy, or were there? The next morning, Veltane called an emergency meeting of the council. When the representatives gathered, he stood up and spoke the words that would change everything. "I believe we have made a mistake," he said. "I believe the humans are not gone. I believe they are still here, and they are waiting for something." "Waiting for what?" Zexthara asked. "For us to understand what we have done," Veltane replied. "And for us to realize that we are not dealing with a normal species anymore." The chamber fell silent. Outside, in the empty human cities, the lights continued to burn. The machines continued to work. And somewhere, in a place the council could not see, 12 billion humans watched and waited. The war had not begun yet. But it was coming. 3 months had passed since the humans vanished. The council had divided up human space like they always did when a species disappeared. The HFY were happy with their new farm worlds. The Sorok were making good money from the human mines. The Nethrans were processing gas from the human refineries. Everything seemed normal. The galaxy was running smoothly under council rule. Then Alex Turner appeared. He materialized right in the middle of the council chamber, like a ghost becoming solid. One moment there was empty air, the next moment a human man stood there, wearing a simple gray uniform with strange symbols on it. The security alarms went off immediately. Red lights flashed. Robot guards rushed into the chamber, their weapons ready. Energy shields dropped down around the alien representatives, but Alex Turner just stood there, calm and quiet, his hands at his sides. "Greetings, Council," he said. His voice was clear and strong. "I bring a message from humanity." Zexthara's crystal body flared with bright light. "Impossible. Our sensors detect no human technology, no ships." "No transmission sources?" Turner smiled. It was not a happy smile. "That is because you are looking in the wrong place. You are looking for us in your dimension, but we are not there anymore." "What do you mean?" Clicks buzzed angrily. The insect's 6 arms waved in the air. "Speak clearly, human." "I mean exactly what I said. While you have been playing with our old toys, we have been somewhere else, watching, learning, growing. The air around Turner began to shimmer. The council representatives watched in shock as images appeared in the air. They saw vast human cities, but these cities were strange. They seemed to exist in multiple places at the same time. The buildings twisted and folded in ways that hurt to look at. "We call it folded space," Turner explained. "Your scientists would say it is impossible." "But then your scientists said many things about humans were impossible." More images appeared. Human fleets moving through corridors of twisted space. Ships that seemed to be in two places at once. Weapons that fired from angles that should not exist. "You see, Council Prime, humanity did not run away. We evolved. We stepped sideways into reality." Veltane, the old Sorok security chief, stared at the images. His yellow eyes were wide with fear. "How many of you are there?" "All of us," Turner replied. "Every human who ever lived on your former territories. Every human who ever worked in your former colonies. 12 billion souls existing in the spaces between your reality." "But why?" Moros asked. The Nethran's gas form swirled with confusion. "Why hide from us? Why not fight?" Turner's smile disappeared. "Because 3 months ago, we still had hope. We thought the council could be reasoned with. We thought you would understand that the galaxy was big enough for all of us." He gestured, and new images appeared. These showed the council forces tearing down human cities, destroying human art, melting down human monuments to make raw materials for alien construction. "We watched you destroy everything we built. We watched you erase our culture like it meant nothing. We watched you treat our worlds like they were always yours." The images showed Vexi workers burning human books, Sorok miners crushing human sculptures to get at the metals inside, Nethran processors turning human gardens into industrial fuel. "We recorded everything," Turner continued. "Every act of destruction. Every moment of disrespect. Every time you laughed at our primitive ways." Zextara tried to speak, but Turner held up his hand. "We learned something important about the Council during these 3 months. We learned that you do not conquer species because you need their resources. You conquer them because you enjoy it. You destroy their cultures because it makes you feel powerful." "That is not true," Quix protested. "We bring order to the galaxy. We create peace." "Peace?" Turner laughed, but it was a cold sound. "You call it peace when the strong take everything from the weak? You call it peace when entire species disappear and no one even remembers their names?" The images changed again. Now they showed the councils. History, species after species, conquered and absorbed. Entire civilizations reduced to footnotes in council records. The makers of the crystal gardens, the singers of the void, the builders of the great rings. Do you even remember their names? Do you remember what they created before you destroyed them? The council representatives looked uncomfortable. They had not thought about the old conquered species in years. "But we remember," Turner said, "because we talked to them." "Impossible," Veltane hissed. "Those species are extinct, are they?" Turner asked. "Or did they just step sideways like we did?" New images appeared. Beings that looked like living crystals, but different from the council species. Creatures made of pure sound. Builders who worked with materials that existed in multiple dimensions. When you conquer a species, Council, you only destroy the part of them that exists in your dimension. The rest finds other places to go. The Council stared in horror. For thousands of years, they had believed they were the masters of the galaxy. They had thought they controlled everything. But now they realized they had only been playing in one small corner of reality. "We are not the first species to discover folded space," Turner continued. "We are just the first to do it while you were watching. The others learned to hide before you noticed them." "What do you want?" Zextara asked. Its crystal body was flickering with fear. "We want you to understand what you have done. We want you to know that your actions have consequences. We want you to realize that you are not the only powers in this galaxy anymore." Turner began to fade, becoming transparent like a ghost. "Wait," Moros called out. "What happens now?" "Now," Turner smiled again. Now you get to experience what it feels like to be on the other side. What do you mean? You will find out soon enough, but I will give you a hint. Remember how it felt when you could not find us? Remember how it felt when you knew something was wrong but could not prove it? The images around Turner changed one last time. They showed council ships, stations, and colonies. But in each image there were shadows that moved wrong. Shapes that appeared for just a moment before vanishing. Equipment that worked differently than it should. We have been learning about you for 3 months, Turner said. We know where all your ships are. We know where all your stations are. We know where all your leaders sleep at night. The council representatives felt a chill run through them. You see, when you exist in folded space, you can go anywhere, walk through walls, appear inside locked rooms, listen to private conversations, watch secret meetings. Turner was almost completely transparent now. The difference between us and you, he said, is that we are not interested in conquest. We are interested in justice. What does that mean? Beltane asked. It means that for the first time in council history, you are going to face an enemy that you cannot see, cannot predict, and cannot defeat with your usual methods. Are you declaring war? Zextara demanded. War? Turner laughed. Council Prime, we are not declaring war. We are declaring evolution. You can either evolve with us or you can be left behind. With that, he vanished completely. The chamber fell silent except for the hum of the air systems. The council representatives looked at each other. For the first time in their long history, they did not know what to do. What have we done? Moras whispered. We have awakened something that should have been left sleeping. Beltane replied. Outside the station, space looked empty and normal. But now the council knew better. Now they knew that in the spaces between reality, 12 billion humans were watching them, and they were no longer the same species that had asked for peace 3 months ago. The war had not started yet, but everyone in the chamber knew it was coming. And for the first time in their history, the council was not sure they could win. The council moved fast after Alex Turner disappeared. Within hours, every council ship in the galaxy received the same emergency message. Find the humans, capture them, bring them back to normal space where they could be dealt with, the greatest. Minds of 4 species worked day and night. They built new sensors that could detect dimensional disturbances. They created reality anchors that could lock space into 3 dimensions. They designed weapons that could fire into folded space. Security Chief Beltane stood on the bridge of the council flagship, watching his crews install the new equipment. The reality anchors were huge machines that hummed with power. When they turned on, they created bubbles of normal space that nothing could fold through. How long until we are ready? He asked his chief scientist, a young Sorok named Dr. Kesara. 2 more days for the anchors, she replied. 1 week for the dimensional weapons, but Chief, I must warn you. This technology is dangerous. If we make a mistake, we could tear holes in reality itself. Veltane's yellow eyes glowed. The humans have already torn holes in reality. We are just trying to fix them. But the humans were not waiting for the council to get ready. Captain Steve Morrison stood in the command center of the human dimensional fleet. Around him, holographic displays showed every council ship, station, and colony in the galaxy. Red dots marked the locations where reality anchors were being installed. They are learning faster than we hoped, he said to Admiral Nancy Brooks, who appeared as a shimmering image next to him. Not fast enough, Brooks replied. Dr. Wells says, we have at least 6 months before they can build weapons that really threaten us. We start Operation Ghostwalk tonight, Steve nodded. He looked around at his crew. They were all volunteers, people who had chosen to stay in the dimensional fleet instead of going to the safe colonies in folded space. They knew the risks, remember. He told them, we are not trying to destroy the council. We are trying to teach them. Hit hard, but make sure they understand why. The first attack came at midnight. Council time. The Vexhai command ship was floating near the old human colony of New Boston. Inside the ship, thousands of insect workers were building new hives and processing stations. The ship's captain, Commander Zichthel, was reviewing plans for expanding into the next system. Then the lights went out. Emergency power came on, bathing everything in red light. Alarms screamed throughout the ship. Zichthel ran to the bridge, his 6 legs moving quickly across the metal floors. "Report!" He buzzed at his crew. "Unknown contacts inside the ship." His sensor operator replied, "They are moving through the walls like they are not there." "How many?" "Impossible to count. They appear and disappear too fast." Zichthel watched his screens in horror. Human figures were materializing inside his ship, but they were not attacking his crew. Instead, they were disabling systems, power generators shut down, weapon controls stopped working. Life support systems went to minimum. Then, as quickly as they had come, the humans vanished. The ship was not destroyed. No one was killed, but every military system on board was broken. The HFY ship could not fight, could not move, could barely keep its crew alive. In the ship's main computer, a message appeared. "This is what happens when you destroy someone's home." Think about it. The same thing happened to 12 other HFY ships that night. The Sorok faced a different kind of attack. Their fortress world of Granite Prime was supposed to be impossible to invade. It was surrounded by energy shields, defense satellites, and automated weapon platforms. The underground cities were built deep in solid rock. Colonel Betty Martinez led her strike team through the rock like it was air. In folded space, solid matter was just another dimension that could be stepped around. She and her 20 soldiers appeared in the command center of Granite Prime without triggering a single alarm. The Sorok commanders found them sitting at the main conference table, drinking coffee and reading the fortress defense plans. "Good morning," Betty said politely. "We are here to discuss your recent activities on human worlds." General Thokmar, the fortress commander, reached for his weapon. Betty held up her hand. "I would not do that," she said. "My team has already disabled all your weapons. We have also placed charges on your main power generator, your water system, and your air recycling plant." "You are bluffing," Thokmar hissed. Betty smiled and pressed a button on her device. Far below them, a small explosion echoed through the rock. The lights flickered. "That was just the backup generator," she said. "The main one is still working." For now, she stood up and walked to the large screen that showed the fortress status. "You have been using our mining equipment to dig deeper into this world. You have been melting down our art to make your weapons. You have been using our schools as storage buildings." She turned to face the Sorok commanders. "Did you think we would not notice? Did you think we would not care?" "What do you want?" Thokmar asked. "We want you to understand that actions have consequences. We want you to know that someone is watching now, someone who can reach you anywhere." Betty and her team began to fade. "Wait," Thokmar called. "How do we know you will not just kill us all?" "Because," Betty said as she disappeared, "we are still human. We still believe that people can learn from their mistakes." The lights went out. When they came back on, the humans were gone. But every computer in the fortress contained the same message: "We are watching." The Nethrans learned that even being made of gas was no protection. Lieutenant Dan Cooper materialized inside their main processing station near Saturn. The Nethrans thought they were safe because humans could not breathe in their gaseous environment, but Dan was not breathing their air. He existed in folded space where the laws of normal chemistry did not apply. He walked through their gas clouds like they were empty space. "Greetings, Cloud Singer Vishathani," he said to the station commander. The gas being swirled in confusion. "How are you speaking to me? How are you existing in our environment?" "The same way you exist in normal space," Don replied. "By choosing to?" He gestured around the station. "This used to be our research facility. Dr. Helen Grant worked here for 15 years, studying the interaction between gas-based life and solid matter. She hoped to build bridges between our species." Dan pulled out a small device that projected images into the gas around them. The images showed the station as it used to be, with human scientists working alongside Nethran researchers. She published 12 papers on peaceful cooperation between gas and solid beings. "Did you read them before you destroyed her laboratory?" Vishathanes. Gas form shifted uncomfortably. We did not know there were important research materials. You did not ask, Don said. You just took what you wanted and threw away the rest. The images change, showing Nethran workers tearing apart delicate equipment. Dumping years of research into recycling processors, Dr. Grant spent her life trying to understand your people. She wanted to find ways for all species to work together. And you turned her laboratory into a fuel processing plant. We needed the space, Vishathani protested. There are millions of empty spaces in this system. You chose this one because it was ours, Dan began to fade. Think about that, Cloudsinger. Think about what it means when you take not because you need to, but because you can. When he vanished, every processing unit in the station shut down. They would restart in exactly 24 hours, just long enough for the Nethrans to think about what they had lost. The attacks continued for weeks. Human strike teams appeared in Council facilities throughout the galaxy. They did not kill anyone, but they made it clear that nowhere was safe. They could appear in the most secure bunkers, the deepest underground cities, the most heavily guarded command centers. Each attack came with the same message. We are watching. We remember, we are still human. The Council tried to fight back with their reality anchors and dimensional weapons, but the humans were always one step ahead. They would attack places that had no protection, or they would find ways to disable the new equipment before it could be used. Worst of all, the humans seemed to know everything. They knew where Council leaders would be before the leaders knew it themselves. They knew about secret meetings before they happened. They knew about hidden bases that were not on any maps. Security Chief Veltane realized the terrible truth one morning when he found a human coffee cup on his desk. It was still warm. Someone had been in his private quarters while he slept, made coffee in his kitchen, and left the cup where he would find it. The message was clear. We can reach you anywhere, anytime, but the humans were not just playing games. Each attack was carefully planned to teach the Council something about themselves. They showed the aliens what it felt like to be powerless. They demonstrated what it meant to have someone take your things without asking. They proved that even the strongest defenses could not protect you from an enemy who thought differently than you did. The war was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. It was fought not with massive fleets and planet-killing weapons, but with precision strikes that targeted the mind as much as the body, and slowly, the Council began to understand that they were not fighting the same humans who had asked for peace 6 months ago. These humans had evolved into something new, something that could not be conquered by traditional means. The war had been going on for 6 months. The Council was losing, and they knew it. Their ships were being disabled faster than they could repair them. Their stations were being infiltrated by enemies they could not see. Their leaders were afraid to sleep in their own beds. Prime Zextara stood in the emergency war room, surrounded by the broken remnants of Council power. Half the military fleet was offline. 3 major colonies had surrendered after human strike teams appeared in their government buildings. The economy was crashing because no one knew when the humans would strike next. We need to end this, the Crystal being said to its advisors. Build the reality bomb. Use it to force the humans back into normal space where we can destroy them. Dr. Kesara, the Sorak scientist, looked worried. Prime, the reality bomb is not tested. If we use it wrong, we could collapse all of folded space. That would kill not just the humans, but every species that has learned to live in higher dimensions. How many species is that? Zextara asked. We do not know. The humans claim there are dozens of extinct species living in folded space. If they are right, we could be committing genocide on a scale never seen before. Better that than letting the humans destroy the Council. Zextara replied coldly. The reality bomb was built in secret on a hidden military station. It was a massive weapon that could unfold all of space within a light-year radius. Everything hiding in folded dimensions would be forced back into normal space, where Council weapons could reach them. Security Chief Veltane watched the weapon being assembled. His old reptile heart felt heavy. In 300 years of conquest, he had never felt like this. He had always believed the Council brought order to chaos. But now he wondered if they were the Chaos. "Chief," his assistant Kethar said, "the weapon will be ready in 6 hours." "Good," Beltane replied. But he did not feel good about it. On the human dimensional ship Hope's Edge, Admiral Nancy Brooks received the intelligence report from her spy networks. The humans had been watching the Council build their reality bomb for weeks. "They really are going to use it," Captain Steve Morrison said. "Even knowing it might kill billions of innocent beings." "That tells us everything we need to know about them," Brooks replied. "They would rather commit genocide than admit they were wrong." She looked around at her command staff. These were good people who had been pushed too far by the councils. Arrogance. They had tried peace. They had tried hiding. They had tried surgical strikes to teach lessons. Nothing had worked. "It is time for the final option," she said. "Admiral," Steve said carefully, "are you sure about this? Once we fully materialize, there is no going back. We will be visible to every sensor in the galaxy, I know. But the Council needs to see us as we really are now. They need to understand what they created." The reality bomb powered up right on schedule. Its energy field began to spread outward, unfolding space and forcing everything hidden to become visible. The Council fleet prepared to destroy whatever emerged, but what emerged was not what they expected. Admiral Brooks materialized on the bridge of the Council flagship. But this time she was not alone. Thousands of humans appeared simultaneously throughout the Council fleet. Not as attackers, but as ambassadors. "Prime Zexthara," Brooks said calmly, "we need to talk." The Council Prime's crystal body flared with anger. "Surrender, humans. You are back in normal space now. Our weapons can reach you." "Yes, they can," Brooks agreed. "But before you fire, you should look around." The main screen activated, showing space around the Council fleet. What the aliens saw made them freeze in terror. The human fleet was materializing. Ship after ship appeared out of folded space. But these were not the same ships the Council remembered. They were larger, stranger, built with technology that seemed to bend reality around them. "Impossible," Zexthara whispered. "Your fleet was destroyed." "We confirmed it. You destroyed our old fleet," Brooks said. "These ships were built in folded space, using principles your three-dimensional science cannot understand." More ships appeared, hundreds of them, then thousands. The human fleet stretched as far as the sensors could detect. "How many ships do you have?" Beltane asked over the communication channel. "How many do we need?" Brooks replied, but the ships were not the most shocking sight. Mixed in with the human vessels were other ships. Strange designs that the Council had not seen for centuries. The Crystal Gardens, Zexthara breathed. The Void Singers. The Ring Builders. "But they are extinct, are they?" Brooks asked. "Or did they just step sideways to escape your conquest?" The reality bomb continued to unfold space, and more species materialized. Beings of living crystal, creatures of pure energy, builders who worked with materials that existed in multiple dimensions at once. "Every species you thought you had destroyed," Brooks continued. "Every culture you believed you had erased. They're all here, Prime. They have been waiting for someone strong enough to stand up to you." The Council fleet was completely surrounded. They were outnumbered 1,000 to 1 by enemies they had thought were gone forever. "What do you want?" Zexthara asked, its voice barely a whisper. "We want you to understand what you have done," Brooks said. "For thousands of years you have believed that might makes right. You have taken what you wanted and destroyed what you did not understand. You have erased entire civilizations because they did not fit your idea of order." The screen changed, showing images of all the species the Council had conquered. Billions of beings who had died or been forced into hiding. "But you made one mistake," Brooks continued. "You assumed that destruction and hiding were the only options for the weak. You never considered that some species might choose a third path." "What path?" "Evolution, growth, becoming something new." Brooks gestured, and the human ships began to change. They shifted and flowed like living things, taking on new shapes that the Council's sensors could not properly track. "We did not flee from you because we were afraid," Brooks said. We stepped into folded space because we were becoming something that three-dimensional existence could not contain. We tried to do it peacefully, but you forced us to show you what we had become. And what have you become? Beltane asked. We have become gardeners, Brooks replied. Protectors of species that choose growth over conquest. Teachers for those who want to learn. And judges for those who refuse to change. The Council fleet's weapons system suddenly went offline. Every ship, every station, every defensive platform in Council space stopped working. We are not here to destroy you, Brooks said. We are here to give you a choice. The same choice you gave us 6 months ago? What choice? Surrender your military forces? Accept oversight from the Dimensional Council? Stop expanding into new territories? Learn to coexist with species different from yourselves. Zexthara's crystal body flickered with anger, and if we refuse, then you will discover what it feels like to be extinct, Brooks said simply. Not killed, just ... forgotten, left behind. While the rest of the galaxy moves on to something better. The Council Prime looked around at its fleet, disabled and helpless. It looked at the thousands of ships surrounding them, representing species it had thought destroyed. It realized that, for the first time in Council history, they were not the strongest force in the galaxy. How do we know you will not just destroy us anyway? Zexthara asked. Brooks smiled. It was not a cruel smile, but it was not entirely kind either. Because despite everything you have done to us, we are still human. We still believe that people can learn. That species can grow, that the galaxy is big enough for everyone. She paused. But our patience is not infinite. And we are not the same humans who begged for peace 6 months ago. The Council Prime considered its options. Around it, its advisors waited for orders. The reality bomb could still be fired, but it would not matter now. The humans and their allies were too numerous, too advanced, too prepared. What are your terms? Zexthara asked finally. Simple, Brooks replied. Join the Dimensional Council as equals, not masters. Help us teach other species how to evolve beyond conquest. Work with us to repair the damage that centuries of war have caused, and if we agree, then you get to be part of something bigger than any empire. You get to help build a galaxy where every species can find its own path to growth. The council meeting that followed lasted for days. In the end, they signed the new agreement. Not because they wanted to, but because they finally understood that the age of conquest was over, the galaxy had grown beyond them. And if they wanted to survive, they would have to grow 2 years later, as new species learned to step sideways into folded space. It was often the council species who taught them. Former conquerors becoming teachers, helping young civilizations avoid the mistakes of the past, and in the spaces between dimensions, humanity watched over it all. No longer the desperate species begging for survival, but the gardeners of galactic peace. They had kept their promise. They had remained human, even when becoming something more.